Hey everyone. So today I want to talk about something super important, something I wish someone had told me when I was in my early 20s. I am going to share some of the biggest money lessons I learned, mostly the hard way, by making pretty much every mistake in the book. This is not about getting rich quick. Trust me, I tried that and it did not work out so well. This is about building a solid foundation, understanding what not to do, and protecting your hard-earned money. First off, let us talk about ownership and equity. This one is huge. When I first started thinking about money, I just thought about getting a good job, working hard, and saving. That is what everyone tells you, right? Work for someone, get a salary, save a bit. But what I did not realize back then was that just being an employee, no matter how good your salary is, rarely builds true wealth. You are trading your time for money. There is a ceiling to that. There are only so many hours in a day. You do not own anything that grows in value while you are sleeping, or that generates income without your direct, constant effort. You are essentially building someone else's dream, someone else's equity, not your own. I learned this the hard way, but at the end of the day, I was just an employee. All my effort was making someone else's business more valuable. It was a tough pill to swallow. I started thinking, what if I owned a piece of something? What if my hard work contributed to something that I actually owned? That is a game changer. It does not mean you have to quit your job tomorrow and start a huge company. It means you need to think about ways to have ownership. Maybe it is investing in stocks, real estate, or even starting a small side project that you own 100% of. The key is that you need to have a clear path to owning assets that can appreciate or generate passive income. Think about it this way: if you are working for a company, and that company grows and becomes incredibly successful, who benefits the most? The owners? The shareholders? Not usually the employees, unless they have some kind of equity or stock options. Even then, it is still a small piece of a much larger pie. My goal now is always to have a piece of that pie myself. I am not saying your job is not important. It absolutely is, especially when you are starting out. But always be thinking about how you can transition from purely trading your time for money to owning assets that work for you. That is what Felix Dennis, the founder of Maxim magazine, talked a lot about, and it resonated with me deeply after my own experiences. He said employment alone will never make you rich, and he was right. It is about equity. It is about owning a piece of the pie. Next up, focus. Oh man, this one hit me hard when I was younger. I thought the more things I had going on, the better. Multiple side hustles, dabbling in different investments, trying to learn everything at once. I had my fingers in so many pies, and you know what happened? None of them got enough attention to actually grow. It was a mess. I was spreading myself too thin, constantly feeling overwhelmed, and not seeing real progress in any single area. It is like trying to juggle 18 balls at once. You might keep a few in the air for a bit, but eventually, they all come crashing down. I had about 3 different business ideas I was trying to launch, plus investing in all sorts of different things, from penny stocks to crypto, trying to catch every wave. It was exhausting and ultimately unproductive. I would have much rather focused all my energy on one thing, made it successful, and then maybe, just maybe, expanded from there. My big takeaway here is ruthless focus. Find one thing that shows promise, one area where you are seeing some traction, and go all in. Especially if you are just starting out. Do not get distracted by the shiny object syndrome, which I am very prone to, by the way. I still fight it every single day. You see someone else doing well in a different niche, and you think, maybe I should be doing that. Maybe I am missing out. That is FOMO, fear of missing out, and it is a killer for focus. If you have built something up, even if it is small, and it is generating consistent income, double down on that. Scale that thing. Do not abandon it for the next big trend. I learned this after seeing my initial attempts at diversified income streams fail spectacularly. It felt like I was working constantly, but going nowhere. Now, I am much more selective. I ask myself, is this going to directly contribute to my primary income source or build significant equity in something I own? If the answer is no, I usually pass. It is tough. It means saying no to potentially exciting things, but it is necessary for real growth. Focus on that one thing that puts the first dollar in your pocket, then make it 10, then 100, then 1,000. That is the path. Third, embrace calculated risk. This is another area where my younger self was a bit, let us just say, misguided. I was either too cautious or completely reckless. There was no in between. I would either be too scared to invest a few $100s in something that had real potential, or I would throw thousands at something super speculative without doing any real research. Neither approach worked. The key is calculated risk. It is not about being foolish and jumping into something without thinking. It is about understanding the potential downsides versus the potential upsides. When I was in my 20s, I was extremely frugal, which in some ways was good. It helped me save, but it also made me miss out on opportunities because I was too afraid to spend money. Even on things that could have accelerated my growth, I had this mental safety net where I did not want to lose a single dollar, which is understandable, but it also prevented me from making necessary investments in myself or in potential ventures. A foolish risk is like betting your life savings on a lottery ticket. Huge downside, minimal upside. A strategic risk, on the other hand, might be investing a manageable amount of money in a business idea or a skill that has the potential to generate significant returns. You know what you could lose, and you are comfortable with that loss because the potential gain is so much greater. For example, losing a couple of $1,000s on a venture that has the potential to make millions. That is a trade-off worth considering. Losing $10,000 to make $5,000. That is just bad math. I challenge myself now to take one strategic risk every month. It could be investing in a new course, trying out a new marketing strategy, or even dedicating time to a completely new project that aligns with my overall goals. It is about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, but always with an eye on the risk. Reward ratio. Do not be afraid to fail, but fail smartly. Learn from each risk you take, whether it pays off or not. This is something I wish I had understood sooner. It is not about avoiding risk entirely, but about being smart about it. Lesson number 4, timing matters more than the idea. This one is something I had to truly internalize. I used to think that having a brilliant, completely original idea was everything. If I could just come up with the next big thing, I would be set. But that is not always how it works. A good idea at the wrong time is often doomed to fail. A decent idea at the perfect time can become a massive success. Think about it, Facebook was not the first social network, and Amazon was not the first online bookstore, but their timing was impeccable. They caught the wave at precisely the right moment. They had good ideas, yes, and brilliant execution. But the timing, the market readiness, was a huge factor in their explosive growth. I have had ideas that I thought were amazing, only to launch them and realize the market was just not ready, or the competition was already too entrenched. It was frustrating. Now, I try to develop what I call an opportunity radar. I am constantly looking at emerging trends, studying new markets, and paying attention to what people are talking about. This means more than just scrolling through social media, although that can be part of it. It is about trying to anticipate where the puck is going, not just where it has been. When you spot a genuine wave, you need to be prepared to move quickly and decisively. Dennis was a huge proponent of this. He talked about how when he saw a demand for a certain type of publishing, he went all in, working tirelessly, because he knew the timing was right. I felt something similar when I started my real estate lead generation business. I saw an unmet need, a perfect storm of conditions, and I jumped on it with everything I had. It was hard work, but the timing made it incredibly effective. The first movers in a significant new market capture a disproportionate amount of the wealth. It is about being observant, being ready, and being willing to commit when that window of opportunity opens. Do not wait for the perfect idea, look for the perfect timing. Number 5, control your costs and negotiate everything. This is a lesson I learned from people much wealthier than myself, like John D. Rockefeller. He was famously ruthless about controlling costs. My initial thought process was always about how to make more money, but I overlooked the equally important aspect of not losing money unnecessarily. Every dollar saved, especially during your wealth building phase, is a dollar that can be invested and compounded. When I was younger, I would just spend money without much thought. Little things here and there, status symbols, things that depreciated quickly. I justified it by thinking, I earned it. But what I was really doing was reducing my ability to invest. If I saved $100 on something, that $100 could then be put into an investment that might earn me 10% a year. That is not just $100 saved. It is $100 working for me. It is a subtle but powerful shift in thinking. Rockefeller understood that high overheads can kill a business before it even has a chance to grow. The same applies to personal finance. If your personal spending is out of control, you are essentially cutting off your own legs financially. It does not mean you have to live like a miser, but you need to be strategic. Especially in your 20s and 30s, this is your prime wealth building phase. Every dollar you save and invest now has decades to compound. It is incredibly powerful. And then there is negotiation. I used to hate negotiating. It felt awkward, uncomfortable, but I have seen very wealthy people negotiate for everything, even when they probably did not need to. It is a mindset. They understand that every dollar they save through negotiation is a dollar added directly to their bottom line. It is a skill that takes practice, but it pays dividends. Whether it is a business deal, a car purchase, or even a service, always ask if there is a better price. If there is room to negotiate, you will be surprised how often there is. It feels good to know you are getting the best deal, and it frees up more money to be invested. Your future self, your business, and your family will thank you for mastering this skill. Finally, lesson number 6, delegation. This was a massive hurdle for me. When I started my business, I wanted to do everything myself. I thought, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. And for a while, that works. When you are just starting, you are wearing all the hats. But there comes a point where doing everything yourself becomes a bottleneck. It limits your growth, caps your income, and frankly, it burns you out. I hit that wall hard. I was working 12 hard days, constantly stressed, and my business was growing, but my personal life and mental energy were suffering. I was stuck in the hustle culture mindset, thinking more hours meant more success. But I was not building systems. I was just being a very busy employee within my own business. The transition from doing everything to having a team to having people work for you is like unlocking a whole new level in the game of wealth building. Seeing sales come in, customer support tickets being handled, or accounting tasks being managed without my direct involvement. It is an incredible feeling. It is the true essence of passive income. It is not that you do nothing, but you are leveraging other people's skills and time. The biggest hurdle for most entrepreneurs, and certainly for me, is the inability to let go, to trust others, to delegate effectively. We think we are indispensable, but often we are just getting in our own way. The key to delegation is not just handing off tasks. It is about incentivizing talented people. Give them a stake, give them a reason to perform. If they help you make more money, they should be rewarded. That drives efficiency and allows you to step out of the day-to-day operations and focus on the bigger picture, on strategy, on growth. Your income will hit a ceiling if you cannot delegate. You only have so much time and energy. Learning to master delegation is crucial for true wealth creation. It is about building systems and teams that can work for you, even while you are sleeping. That is where real freedom lies. So these are the 6 core lessons that really changed my approach to money and investing. I hope sharing my mistakes and my journey helps you avoid some of the pitfalls I fell into. Remember, it is not about getting rich quick. It is about being smart, being focused, understanding risk, recognizing opportunities, controlling your finances, and learning to leverage others. If any of this resonated with you, or if you have your own experiences and questions, please share them. I am always learning, and I love hearing from you all. This journey is much better when we learn together. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, and I hope you found this helpful.